Coach, we're going to throw things, David. We'll take questions from there.
Okay. Really just proud of our girls. I told them before the game, this was a bad week. We got back wanting to build on that Drake win, and so we get back New Year's Eve, and then the next day we have a player test positive and kind of shut us down for a day. And then we had 6 kids that practiced on last Sunday. We were off Monday. We practiced with 7 kids on Tuesday, 7 kids on Wednesday. Marie got back and made our 8th person in practice on Thursday, and then we had to ask her to turn around and play a game the next day. And then Ariana Smith, to her credit, as a freshman, really stepped up the last 2 days. She had no practice before that game on Friday night against Illinois State. So for us to go out and just put forth the effort we did on Friday was great. But really just before the game, told them we're trying to build. Our goal was to win 2 of our first 5 with the way the schedule played out. Then when the UNI game got moved, it became 2 out of 4. So now we've met that. We got a chance on Thursday to make it 3 and 1. So again, just really proud of our girls. Don't like to play somebody the entire game, but we had to do that with Marie tonight, and she wasn't complaining. I wasn't complaining because she was making shots. So for her to go 11 of 15, I think we see glimpses of how good we can be in a lot of games. The games we win, you're seeing more consistency from different people, and so just really proud of our girls for battling through this week and being 2-1 in conference.
What do you attribute Marie's offensive performance to today? Was she looking for good shots, or? Yeah,
I think with us, for us offensively, and having watched the game on Friday night, we got off to a bad start, and a lot of it was shot selection. Things weren't in a rhythm. One thing we try to stress to the young women in our program is there's shots we want to take. There's shots we want them taking. We want them playing towards their strengths. And I think you saw that most of the first half. I think maybe the start of the second half, we got away from that a little bit. We settled for some jump shots instead of attacking like we were in the first half, and that kind of let them open the door to get back in it a little bit. But really just I think she made some tough ones, but she earned those because she was getting to the offensive glass and earned the right to put it back up there. And there's one, she hung in the air and twisted, and I don't know how it went in, but I just turned and clapped and was like, this is her night. Then we've had different people have those nights, so I think that's one thing about us is, I think Marie's maybe the 5th different person we've had on our roster that scored over 20 points in a game. And I think you look at most teams in the Valley, they're looking at, they got 1 or 2 kids that they're trying to get a majority of their shots for, maybe a third one. And some of those other kids are lucky if they even get to get a shot up. So for us, it's that balance and figuring out who that hot hand is, something that we try to do each game.
How about Natalia's hot hand early?
Yeah, she kind of had the reverse Drake is what I call that. She started off hot and then got cold the rest of the game. And in that Drake game, she started off cold and then got hot there in that 4th quarter. So, but no, she's a kid again. I have a lot of confidence in her shooting the ball. There towards the end, we're trying to run some ball screen stuff and get her to pop to get her another look. Basketball is interesting because, Friday night we go 7 of 19 from the 3-point line, and we lose that game by 8. And today we go 2 for 11 and win by 16. So it's you never know what's from an offensive standpoint what's going to be what works necessarily with how somebody's guarding you. And I mentioned in the Missouri Valley conference call last week that we kind of spend the first 10 minutes trying to figure out what the other team's going to do, how they're going to guard us. And tonight we did a good job of finding that. She did a really good job of hunting for the ball, and we did a good job of getting her the ball in rhythm for her to knock down shots.
One person I thought had kind of unusual statistics. Anna McKendry had her first start of the year, and she's coming off an 18-point game off the bench. And I don't think she took a shot in the first half. I have to double check. She ended up 1 for 2, but she seemed to be very satisfied with her role as a facilitator. She had 5 assists real early and only ended up with 6. She slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
She seemed to be
we slowed down a little bit there too.
She seemed content though, just dishing it off. She threw some really nice, impressive passes.
Yeah, she's a kid. She just wants to win. So if she needs to make shots Some nights she's going to take shots. If she doesn't, she's, she sees the floor really well. She's got a great basketball IQ. She was kind of picking their defense apart early on and finding Nat and finding Maya and Nani around the rim. So thought she did a great job of a lot of kids getting their first start of the year would, that would affect them different ways. They may come out and try to take every shot. And for her, she just came out and played to try to help us win the game, and really was proud of the way she defended in that first half. Thought she did a pretty good job of defending, and they kind of changed some things in the second half to go at her, but no, really proud of her effort.
What's your hope for being somewhat back to normal personnel-wise?
That's kind of normal for us. I mean, we've got one out that's sick. It's not COVID related. She's just sick, so she missed today. We've got another one that's still battling some COVID symptoms. So I mean, we'll be off tomorrow. We work out. We'll lift and get kind of a recovery lift in, and then we'll practice on Tuesday. The best thing for us is at least to have 9 because we can at least do some things live. But I think it's again, testament to our kids when you think about we've won 3 of our last 4, I think it is now, and we're 2-1 in conference, and that's in a situation where we came back from Christmas break and we practiced twice before the Drake game with 10 people, and other than that, we've just it's hard to function and run offense. When you imagine a football team going out there and trying to run an offense with 7 players, like you can't get realistic things done. And so for us, we've had to do a lot of 5-on-0. I've got some offensive stuff that we generally add this time of year that I was planning on adding, last week, when we got back from Drake. Weren't able to do that, so adding it on a 2-day swing before we play Evansville, we'll try to get some stuff added. That will help us, not only against them, but just open some things up for our players. But yeah, I mean, it's what we do. We're not going to make excuses. We're just going to keep showing up.
I plan to focus 99.9% of my story on the players, but I was just going to ask you, how tough was it Friday not to be here, and where did you watch the game from?
That's have you seen that video where Dale Earnhardt was racing at the Brickyard and they take him out and
No, I don't think I did.
sorry. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Were you able to watch it from home?
I watched some of it. When I got to 20, I turned my vision to Bradley because I knew that my job was for us to beat Bradley. But in that video, Dale Earnhardt talks about it being his life, and he has to get out of his car because he's been injured and everything, and that's how I felt. This is my life.
Glad you're back.
Thank you.
Coach, what to say about your staff? You mentioned the challenges, of course, that your players have to face, but obviously with the challenges over the last week, you've had to depend on that staff, and there's a reason you brought each of them here. Just kind of what to say about what you were able to see them do, even though you weren't necessarily able to be here physically for the majority of the week.
Yeah, I think the toughest thing for them is just roles change, So if someone's not used to calling offense during a game, like for me, it just comes natural. This is, this is, hate to say my team, but it's my team. And so I know kind of what we need to run, who needs to get shots in certain situations, where we want to get the ball, kind of the flow of what's going on. So for somebody else, imagine it being like calling pitches in a baseball game. You got that guy that calls pitches for you all the time, and then all of a sudden you take them out of the mix. Or you got, sometimes it's a catcher. A catcher's calling pitches, for a certain
You have to put the
pitcher.
first baseman that
Yeah,
kick
now
out.
all of a sudden, yeah.
Just 'cause you played a little bit in high school.
Yeah, so you've got something strange going on. And I think that was the hardest thing for our staff. But, I mean, them showing up and getting these guys ready to go, each day. I was sending them practice plans. And typically I probably wouldn't have even done that, but I was trying to take some off their plate because I didn't want, all the stress of it to go on them. So I was like sending them practice plans and like, hey, here, do this. And then we'd get, I'd get a message, oh, well, so-and-so's still out. So I'm like, okay, we'll scratch that. And on this one, you got to change this to this or whatever it was with the drill work and everything. But, our girls respond. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, we talked about it a long time ago. It doesn't matter who's dressed. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Like Indiana State's going to have basketball. There's going to be a basketball season. So we're all trying to do everything we can to stay in it. I'm more upset that, I mean, I'm a pretty cautious person when it comes to COVID and everything, and my family's very cautious with what we do and where we go, and you know, we're not out running around just doing whatever, maskless. I mean, I go to a gas station on the way home, I'm going to have a mask on. Kind of proud of myself for keeping it on as much as I did in the game tonight. I thought that would be a little bit harder. But you know, it's just one of those things that this is kind of these are the times we live in. I thought we'd be driving around in George Jetson cars and stuff in 2022, but instead we're still fighting pandemics and everything. So, but again, proud of our girls and staff for kind of just keeping the ship afloat while I was gone. And I didn't bother the girls too much. We had a Zoom call on Monday with Kellen and some of the medical people about some things. And after the call, I screenshotted some of what they were wearing and like did a little like, who's this, or name this lady Sycamore or whatever, and just gave them like a glimpse of it and was like giving them points based on that. 91 actually. But after that, no, I mean, I didn't like text them every day and all that, because I feel like they had to understand that I wasn't going to be around, so they had to hear their voice needed to be the assistant coach's voice. And the assistants were even like, hey, maybe we'll get a FaceTime and you can watch practice through FaceTime. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that for the game, so I'm not going to do that. Like, you guys have to kind of take control. So they did a good job of keeping things afloat and kind of playing towards their individual strengths. But again, it's tough to ask somebody else to coach an offense and coach a defense and make decisions, you know, in the spur of the moment in a situation like that. So that 8-point loss is an 8-point loss, but we'll get to see them again.
Marie, you had a double-double. I don't see all your games. You think you've had one of those before recently or during your ISU career? Not a lot, have you?
Yeah, I really don't be thinking about that. I just go out there and play, be productive for my team. So
You seem to be very aggressive on the offensive boards today, and then turning them into points. That certainly helped a lot. Did you have it in your mind to be extra aggressive, or you're just playing your normal game today, and it just happened to work out for you?
yes, sir. I try to be aggressive every game, to play to my strengths, and I know being aggressive is like one of my strengths. So that's what I try to do every game.
And Natalia, you had the hot hand early. Everything you were throwing up seemed to be going in. Coach didn't worry about it too much when some shots didn't go in the second half. I guess you're one of those shooters that if you miss 2 or 3, nobody worries about it because you're gonna start hitting eventually. Just talk about your train of thought today.
I kind of came into the game just not thinking. I feel like if I think about things, nothing's gonna work
That's how I
out.
go to work too. No.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how I went into the game, and it helps when like everyone has confidence in me. So yeah.
Helps you relax more if you don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
And both of you take turns here. How did it feel to have Coach K back today?
Here we go.
Yeah. Bounce off.
Well, obviously we love him as a coach, so it's always great when he's here. It's just his energy, his vibe to himself, and just like the confidence he has in everyone, and like making plays for us. Just yeah.
Yeah, I was 100% with Nat. She basically stole everything that's going to come out of my mouth. So she hit it right on the nail. We love her.
He comes back and plays you 40 minutes. Working you like a dog there. But you could take it, right?
Yes, sir. I tried to. Yes, sir.
All right, ladies.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.